All right, welcome everyone. Okay, this particular video that we're working on now for our next lesson is entitled Elimination Using Multiplication. So let's just jump into it and just get started. Okay, you're going to start off here with a 5-minute check. The 5-minute check has 6 problems, so definitely giving you practice doing elimination just by, the previous lesson was addition and subtraction. So I'm going to click through these. Please pause and make sure you do that. And there are 6 of them, so make sure you do all 6. All right, there's the second one. There's the third one. And notice, yeah, sometimes you do have fractions in them because in the real world that does happen. All right. There is the next one. It's a word problem. Remember, you take like x plus y equals and then x minus y equals. That's how that one works. Okay. And then this one, you are doing another word problem with pennants and pom-poms. Okay, so you got to figure out how much they each are. And that's number 5. And then number 6, you're just doing, again, elimination. So you're just adding because you'll see one of the variables will fall out. So now we used elimination with addition and subtraction to solve systems of equations. Now we're going to use solve systems of equations using elimination with multiplication, and then we're going to do some word problems. So let's go ahead and get started. So basically what happens is you are going to multiply one or either both of the equations by some number in order to make the variable fall out. What we did before is either the variable fell out very easily. Now you're going to have to do a little work to make one of the variables fall out, and then you still want to write the answer as an ordered pair. So we'll go ahead and begin, and I have some extra examples. So what you're seeing here, excuse me, we're using elimination to solve the system of equations. 2x plus y equals 23, and 3x plus 2y equals 37. Okay, so you're going to multiply. Notice that neither one of these, when you add them, they don't fall out. This is 5x and this becomes 3y. And remember, you need one of the variables to go away. What we're going to do is, I notice that I can do it in one step. If I multiply the first one by -2, which is what you see them do here, notice now your y's will fall out. So you end up with a negative x. When you add them together, you get negative x equals -9. Divide both sides by -1, so x is 9. Okay? Then you put x back into one of the equations. So you have 2 times x plus y equals 23, and you end up with y being 5. So the ordered pair is 9, 5. Okay? Now, yep, they have a problem. But before we do that, let's practice another one. So let me insert a page here after this one. Okay, so I have a couple of examples that I want to do. So we're going to go ahead and just do those really quickly. And what you see here, sorry about that, it's a little loud. Okay, so our first, call this example 1A. And our first one is 6x minus 2y equals 10. And then the second equation is 3x minus 7y equals -19. Now, as you look at this, what you see is you have 6x and 3x. When you add these, nothing's going to fall out. But if I multiply this one times a -2, I only have to do one step and the x's will fall out. So I'm going to do that. And right there. And so I'm going to multiply, whoops, didn't take. Okay. I'm going to multiply this one times a -2. Okay. And you're going to see in a minute why I did that. So I'm just going to rewrite the first one because I didn't make any changes to it. Okay. Now I'm going to go through and multiply the entire equation by -2. So -2 times 3x is a -6x. -2 times -7y is a positive 14y. And then -2 times a -19 is a positive 38. Now notice your x's are going to fall out. Okay, so I'm going to add these together. This goes away. This becomes 12y, and this becomes 48. So I'm going to divide both sides by 12, and so y is 4. Now that I know what y is, I'm going to substitute it back into one of the two original equations to get x. I'm picking the first one just because I think the numbers are smaller and it looks easier. So I'm going to do 6x minus 2y equals 10. So I'm going to have 6x minus 2 times 4 equals 10. The 4 here comes from right there, okay? So then I have 6x minus 8 equals 10. I'm going to add 8 to both sides. So I'm going to have 6x equals 18, divide both sides by 6. So I have x equals 3. So my ordered pair is 3, 4. Okay? And that's how that works. We're going to page down. Again, feel free to pause whenever you need to. Okay, and let's do example 1b. That's my second one. Okay. Oops. Right there. Okay. And then this one, I'm going to do 9r. Notice you start to see a lot of different variables besides x and y. And when we do systems, you see lots and lots of variables. Okay, so 9r plus q equals 13. And then 3r plus 2q equals negative 4. Now, for this particular problem, you could either get rid of this one, r, or get rid of this q. If you decide to get rid of q, you're going to multiply this line by negative 2. If you decide to get rid of r, you're going to multiply this line by negative 3. Keep in mind the variable has to be the same with the exception of the sign. So I think I'm going to get rid of the q and multiply through this entire equation by negative 3. And again, you could do the other one. It doesn't matter. You're going to get the exact same answer. So we're going to change this one. So negative 27r minus 3q equals negative 39. Okay, to use a calculator. And then just repeat this. So 3r, oh my gosh, not 2. I was supposed to multiply by 3. Sorry about that. Let me fix that. Okay. And let's do negative 2. Ah, that should work out better. So that's going to be a negative 18r minus 2q equals negative 26. That should work out a whole lot better. Sorry about that. Negative 4. Now we're going to add, and I always add. I know in the previous lesson they had you doing subtraction, but I never subtract. I just add. I change what I need to. And so that's why I didn't spend a whole lot of time on subtraction, because you literally can add and get it with it. So when you do this, you have a negative 18 plus 3, so that's a negative 15r. This goes to 0, equals negative 30. Divide both sides by a negative 15. R equals 2. Now I'm going to use this one to substitute back in because the numbers are smaller. So 3r plus 2q equals negative 4. 3 times 2 plus 2q equals negative 4. So 6 plus 2q equals negative 4. I'm going to subtract 6 from both sides. So 2q equals negative 10. Divide by 2. Q is negative 5. So QR. Okay. Keep in mind when you do letters that are not, they're always write the answers in alphabetical order. Okay, so it's going to be QR because that's how they fall in the alphabet. So then I'm going to have negative 5, 2. And keep in mind you can always substitute these back in both equations and make sure that they work. All right. So now we're going to go on to the next one and let you try one. Okay, so that's one for you to try. Pause it, try it, and then let's move on. Okay, so now what we're doing in example 2 is you have to change both equations to make it work, okay, instead of just one. And you notice here you have 4x plus 3y equals 8, and you have 3x minus 5y equals negative 23. You can't change one of them and have it fall out because they need to have something in common. So what they chose to do is get rid of x here. Now, if you'd chosen y, I'll be honest, I probably would have chosen y, mostly because one of them is positive already and one of them is negative. That's usually how I decide what I'm going to change. So, but it doesn't matter. So they multiply the first one times positive 3. So that's where you get the 12x plus 9y equals 24. And they multiply the second one times negative 4. And that's where you get the negative 12x plus 20y equals 92. So you end up with 29y equals 116 when you add them together, and then divide both sides by 29, so y is 4. Then once you get y, you substitute it back into one of them to get x, and so they've done that for you. So now it's negative 1, 4 is your ordered pair. All right. So now I'm going to insert a page and then do a couple more examples for you. All right. Okay. So now on these two, 2A, hold on just a second. Okay. Example 2A. So I have 5x minus 3y equals 6. And I have 2x plus 5y equals negative 10. I'm going to multiply the first one because remember I said about one being positive, one being negative already. So I'm going to multiply this one by 5, and I'm going to multiply this one by 3. Okay, when I do that, I'm going to have 25x minus 15y equals 30. And then on the second one, I'm going to have 6x plus 15y equals negative 30. Okay? So when I add those two together, I'm going to get 31x. This falls out, but notice this falls out too, so I have to put something, so I have to have 0. Divide both sides by 31. X is 0. Now I'm going to substitute it back into one of the two equations to get y. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the 5x minus 3y equals 6. So 5 times 0 minus 3y equals 6. Negative 3y equals 6 because 5 times 0 is just 0. Divide both sides by negative 3. So you're going to get y equals negative 2. So my ordered pair is 0, negative 2. Okay? Again, feel free to rewind, pause, whatever you need to do. Let's go down and let's do 2b. Okay, so example 2b, I'm going to go down a little more. Okay, and so this one's going to be 6a plus 2b equals 2. And then we're going to have 4a plus 3b equals 8. Okay, I probably would try to get rid of b because the numbers are smaller. If you decide to get rid of a, you can multiply the top by a positive 4 and then the bottom by negative 6. But keep in mind, instead of using 24, you could also use 12 because 6 goes into 12 and 4 goes into 12. It doesn't really matter. It's going to fall out in the wash, okay? So I'm going to multiply the top by 3 and the bottom by negative 2, okay? And so when we do that, we're going to get 18a plus 6b equals 6. And then I'm going to have negative 8a minus 6b equals negative 16. Okay, and so I'm going to add. That's going to be 10a equals negative 10. Divide both sides by 10. A is negative 1. Now I'm going to take this and substitute it back in. I'm choosing the first one. So I'm going to do 6a plus 2b equals 2. So 6 times negative 1 plus 2b equals 2. Negative 6 plus 2b equals 2. Add 6 to both sides. Okay, I'm going to lower that just a little bit. So I'm going to get 2b equals 8. Divide both sides by 2. b is 4. So then my ordered pair is negative 1, 4. Okay? Again, feel free to pause or replay. So now let's go back and let's have you do one. Okay? So we're going to go. We've already done that. Whoops. Had that in the middle. I guess I didn't finish that one. Sorry. Probably should fix that. Okay. So there you go. And now there's one for you to do. Okay? So sorry, it looks like we got one embedded in there in the middle. Should have checked, but it's okay. So now you do that one. Again, decide which variable you're going to get rid of. And keep in mind, one of them has to be multiplied by a negative number in order for the variables to fall out. Okay? And then, okay, now you've got a word problem. Okay? So we're going to do that. And then actually you're almost done. So good job. Almost there. So a fishing boat travels 10 miles downstream in 30 minutes. The return trip takes the boat 40 minutes. Find the rate in miles per hour of the boat in still water, okay? And so you're going to let B be the rate of the boat in still water. Let C equal the rate of the current, and you're going to use the distance. The formula rate times time equals distance. So RT equals D, and you'll see that on the next page, and that's what they've written. See, since the rate is miles per hour, write 30 minutes as a half hour and 40 minutes as 2/3 of an hour. The way they got that is you take 30 over 60 and reduce it down as a fraction. If you're on a Casio, you have the fraction key. If you're on a TI, hit 30 divided by 60, math, enter, enter, and it'll do it for you. And then do the same thing with 40 minutes, 40 over 60, okay? And so you see here what they've done is how they've written the formula out. So B plus C times 1/2, B plus C, T is 1/2, and D is 10. And then they wrote the equation, R times T equals D, okay? And then they did the same thing with the other one, okay? And so I just kind of wanted you to see that. And so then once you have it, notice they're working with fractions, and it's really okay. It's really, really okay, okay? They multiplied the top one by 2/3 and the bottom by 1/2. I'll be honest, I'm going to walk you through this example, but I don't necessarily know that I would do all this. I think this is a bit much for people who are just starting off, okay? And so they worked through it and got through the fractions, and they found out the rate of the boat in still water is 17.5 miles per hour, okay? And so here is one just like it. This one I think is a little bit easier to do, but let me do another example for you just so you can see that it's really not that hard. So just hang on just a minute. All right, welcome everyone. Thank you for waiting. Okay, I went ahead and deleted that problem. We will be doing word problems later, and I just think with all the fractions, it was just going to be way too complicated for everybody to do. So you're just going to have the two, and then you're done. So please work on that, and I will see you in the next lesson. Thank you.